Hi, welcome to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City Vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thanks, son. Hi, folks. I hope you're all okay and you enjoyed the match last night.
Might be the wrong word there, love.
Yes, I didn't quite know what to say. The only good thing about the match was the whistle at the end.
Yeah,
It was a bit drab.
I didn't enjoy it myself. It was a good defensive performance, but I didn't enjoy us when we had the ball, which isn't a good thing. You know, you don't want to be applauding headers out the box. You want to be applauding goals into the other box. So,
and of course, I was devastated as usual when my favourite man came on. Can't believe they put him on.
This is trouble.
Bloody dead-eyed Duke.
Mom due for everyone, just for those who don't know. But we have got an injury crisis in a way up front. You know, Sam Vokes is still not fit for whatever reason. Manikophobia went off in the first half to be replaced by Mom. This is sort of where question marks have to be raised about letting both Crouch and Campbell go, but on the other hand, I think the club thought they got Berahino to rely on, and he obviously shot himself in the foot and shot us in the head doing so. So,
Well, I hope you've got different plans for Saturday and they aren't going playing full time on Saturday because I'll cry.
I think the problem for me is you can't not play a striker when there's no other striker available. It's a real disrespect to him. I mean, how many times have we said, like in the instance of Ryan Woods, for instance, in the last few games, why not bring him on like for like? So even though Juve isn't playing well, if Afobe and Vokes aren't fit, I think Juve has to come in just for that same purpose. You can't be saying one thing for one and one thing for another.
Well, I think they ought to use different training tactics then. When they want to pass the ball to Juve, they've got to make sure it gets on his foot because he won't move for it.
I mean, I think that was one thing that really griped you towards the end when there was a specific move going on, but I also noticed it a little bit with Woods. You know, I think there's just a lack of urgency from them. You know, it's as if they're expecting the ball, as you say, to come to them rather than going chasing and harrying after it. And I think that is what Nathan Jones wants in the long run. So, yeah, it wasn't good to see. I mean, we did the final third defensive well, but middle and forward, we might as well have not even turned up, really.
And when he does get the ball, he's like my little puppy. He goes round and round and round. That's when he wants a poo. And it just makes me wonder why Juve does it. I'm sorry, I don't like him. He shouldn't even be in our football team.
I mean, I had to defend Juve last night because, you know, when he came on, I did have this reaction in private. And I said to Mum, you know, yeah, you do forget that he has done all right for the club in the past. And I know the past is the past, but, you know, one season he was our top scorer. He scored, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 against Liverpool in the 6-1. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the point being, you know, he has had good goals, good history in the past. And like we talked about a bit in the last episode, maybe personal tragedy has affected him. You know, each individual to their own. You were saying to me in private that perhaps it's a case of, you know, if you feel like you can't play anymore, you should be honest. And yeah, you should be honest and tell the club or the boss and say, look, honestly, you shouldn't pick me. I'm not the player I used to be. I defended Juve on that point because I can't help but admit if you're on £40,000 a week, who's going to say, I can't play? So, yeah, I know where my mum was coming from, but equally, if that is the case with Juve, I can see where he was coming from as well. You know, what other job do you get that wage from? Or what could he do to earn that money? So
it's best I don't comment on him anymore.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't like the idea of people leeching off the club, but equally, we've given them contracts, so who are we to judge if they suddenly say, right, I want to see him out? So it's not right, but it isn't right, but it isn't wrong. What can you say?
He's a donkey, and that's the end of it.
Okay, so I think we're going to move on to Reading in a moment, but I do want to just say something about Derby, just in the sense that I wouldn't say they were fantastic last night. You know, I thought they were better than us, but they weren't fantastic. You know, I think the Derby fans praised Jack Butland a fair bit after the match, but I don't think that, say we got another up-and-coming goalkeeper in, maybe not Federici, but another promising goalie, then I still think they would have hit the same problems. You know, I think maybe it's just they were shooting from range a bit too much. There wasn't that much incisive work. I think the best chance they had was that good save from Jack where it was a header.
He did 3 consecutives on the trot.
Yeah, back-to-back saves.
Yeah, he did one where he dived to his left, he got back up, saved it, another one to his right, and then another one.
I mean, it was very good from Jack. I mean, this is why I'm saying, I think if we had another goalie in, maybe they'd have got 1 or 2. But, you know, I think Jack did earn his wage this week. I mean, to be honest, he earns it most weeks, but, you know, this week you can definitely say it. So, yeah, I've got no bones about Derby getting the points. You know, if anything, I think the Derby and Stoke fans at the match had a little bit of humour about Gary Rowett just singing a song about how his football isn't particularly good. But yeah, at least there was some good spirit between the two after what was a bit more of a fiery encounter back in November. So
I just had to look at the comparisons though between Frank Lampard and Nathan Jones.
The camera was certainly on Lampard a lot more.
It was, and you know, he's standing there giving it this and giving it that, and Nathan Jones has just stood there biting his nails, and I think, oh dear.
I mean, I think there was a moment when Lampard had been on the touchline a lot, and it's as if Jones said, I better stand up and just shout something, otherwise people are going to think I'm not actually telling the team something. It was just a weird camera shot, you know, and I thought, hey up.
So he told him something, then just stood, as I say, biting his nails. And I just found it so funny.
I mean, I really hope there's a Meet the Manager soon, because you've been saying, you know, I've been saying it, I'd like Mum meet Nathan Jones, because I think to her he comes across as a very, well, yeah, maybe more timid than he is. I think I would like him to meet her just to essentially go, you know what, I'm not this timid little boy, I am actually quite fiery underneath.
Yeah, I'd just like to hear him shout at him and, you know, say whatever they say. But he just stands there. You know, I want to hear him yell at him and, well, rollick him, really. You know. But yeah. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
I don't think it's going to happen this season, that's for certain, because I think his attitude is, these aren't his players.
Yeah. Well, before I do the stats, I think we both want to mention one of our listeners and viewers, and that's Josh. And he goes under the name as Pugster as well, and he's doing
work experience
at Stoke City on Saturday in the media. So we wish him all the luck in the world, and we hope he has a lovely day.
Well, I hope it's helpful for him as much as anything, you know, with it being work experience.
Yeah, and I just hope it's everything he wishes it is.
Yeah, I mean, put it like this, I remember when I did work experience an age ago now, you know, and it sort of opened my eyes to work, you know, in the sense that it sort of taught me, I went into a school to do teaching, and I remember coming out and thinking, this isn't for me. You know, I had a little 5-year-old to me thoughts pretty much ruling the roost, and I thought, hey up, I'm not right for this. So, you know, it can make or break your work experience, and I hope for Pugster, I hope he gets some good luck out of it. So
yeah, so good luck, Josh. Yeah. Let us know how you go on, pal.
But as far as the Reading game goes, let's see the stats.
Right. They've won 8, they've drawn 12, and they've lost 17. I'm going to struggle here, folks. I really, really am.
Here we go.
The top scorers are Yako, Maita.
Let's have a look at what you've written. Okay, Yaku Maita.
Oh. I've just said that.
Okay.
And John J.O.
Bodvarsson. I can't read his middle name with your handwriting, but John something D. Bodvarsson. I know him. He's the Icelandic who did. I think he did well at the World Cup actually, as well as the Euros before.
Do you know the top scorers have to be saying names that I have to struggle.
Just think about Paul Merson.
I'm not illiterate, folks, honestly.
Paul Merson's been doing bodged up names for a decade or more.
What?
You can do it for half an hour each week.
What's my favourite one? What's his name?
Adebayo.
Well, I can't even get my tongue right. Adidabby Doodar, I called him. I just didn't know what to call him, so I called him Abby Dabby. So I'm not illiterate, really.
Oh, sorry.
Now, I think my stats must be wrong because it says they've got no yellow cards and no red cards.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
And yeah, I don't believe that for 1 minute because, well, you just can't go this far into the season without having any.
Let's have a look.
So,
I'm getting my stats page open, just bear with me.
you know, it just isn't right. But they're in 20th position and we're in 17th. So, but there is quite a distance between us in points.
Okay, so here we go. Here are the yellows, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah. So I'm looking, and it looks like the one with the most yellows is John Swift on 8. After that, we've got Andy Yudum with 6, Liam Moore on 5, Yako Mata on 5. So yeah, they've spread them about.
And the Reds.
I'm just looking at the table. Sorry, the table's a little bit split. Sorry if the pages are ruffling in the recording. By the way, I think there's been 2, 3 reds. I think 3 anyway.
I mean, where I usually get my stats from, there was definitely none in there, and I knew as soon as I was reading up on them that it was wrong.
Yeah. So, if I'm reading this right, 66 yellows, 3 reds, and
Oh, you dirty lot of
that's
players.
just in the championship. There's 69 and 3 in total across all competitions.
Right, so you're not goody-goodies after all, Reading. Reading.
Yeah. I was going to say we got the right club.
So, anyway, let's get on to Reading and see what you think.
Well, I've just had a quick look at the squad list, and I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised now, but I did notice it during the transfer window that the new manager, I don't know a lot about him, but he did change the squad quite a lot from when Paul Clement was in charge. I'm actually surprised a few more didn't go, because, for instance, I don't think John O'Shea's anywhere near the front line of the team, to be honest. But he was brought in by Clement this summer, so you're thinking to yourself, well, I am anyway, if he was a Clement man but not in favour with the new guy, why didn't he leave? Maybe it's a contract issue, a bit like Juve, he doesn't want leave, but equally you can't help but look and go, so what's going on? But there have been quite a few changes. I'm surprised there haven't been a few more, like I say. I think the likes of David Mailer's a weird one. If I remember right, they brought Mailer in the summer, and, you know, he's a combative midfielder, to say the least, you know. Maybe a bit like Glenn, but slightly less effective. But I'm guessing he didn't do well because he's gone on loan to Coventry. Similarly, Dave Edwards, I always rated him a couple of years back when he was playing for Wolves. I'm guessing, again, he's not played at his best at Reading because now he's on loan at Shrewsbury. So, yeah, it's strange how this has gone as far as ins and outs. You know, I think the new manager has obviously decided who he likes, who he doesn't like, and basically booted out the ones he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know a lot about Reading. Again, it's one of these clubs that I've never really read up about because they've never either been here or there.
I mean, I don't know about you, but the era I remember Reading for the most is Steve Coppell when they got promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I think they finished in 8th, and then after that they got relegated. So quite a contrast of fortunes, but equally, I seem to think of playing Reading as like the Dave Kitson derby, and considering some of what he's come out with recently, that's not a way I like to think of it in a sense, because he's really gone off me. Well, I've gone off him, should I say. You know,
Why is he still around?
He reports for the Sun now, and it's not just that though, but
I'll say no more.
You know, he comes out with such anti-Stoke articles, and you're thinking, you played for the club, show a bit of class towards it, rather than saying, oh, I didn't like this when I was in the dressing room. And I think, get over yourself. Anyone would think that he was bloody Lionel Messi writing the article?
I know, I don't know who thinks he is, to be honest, you know, if he writes like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I know there might be Reading supporters listening in who think, you know what, he scored a few goals for us, but surely even they must be a bit annoyed because he left Reading when he got relegated thinking he could do well with us.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't imagine they've got much favour for him, even though he went back there for a bit. So
I mean, I'm
yeah.
surprised really that John O'Shea isn't playing more. I've always liked him.
I'm surprised he doesn't seem to be around the squad. Maybe I'm not looking into it as well, but I mean, I'm just taking this based on the fact that last week he was on the debate, on Sky, and you're thinking usually players who are doing that aren't really involved in the first team as much at the moment.
Yeah.
I've seen his stats for the season. He's only played 10 games, so yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's injury. I haven't had a chance to delve right into it just for the fact that we've had quite a run of games. Plus, we've been busy in our private life, but. I'm going to say it's quite strange with John O'Shea, I agree, because he's definitely getting on. So there's an argument why he's been put to one side. All players must end eventually.
Yeah.
But just with him being a summer signing, you would have thought the club would have done some due diligence over him if they thought, can he play for a full season?
Yeah. I mean, I wish really he could have ended his career at United.
I mean, even for me personally, I wouldn't have minded Sunderland, just from an observer point of view, for the fact that I think leaving Sunderland was a bit of a shame. I know they got relegated, but I'm thinking, John, you didn't keep them up, so really you've got no right to say you're better than League One.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know how old he is, to be honest, but he must be 30 odd.
Oh, definitely. He's in his mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
So,
so he is near on retirement age, isn't he, really?
Yeah, Eamonn Fletcher are pretty much in the same age range, so,
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Why bring Fletcher on?
I know, I didn't bring this up, but I mean, we're going back to the Derby Stoke game for a moment.
Sorry.
But I've got to agree with you there. I was calling for Woods to play, right, and I'm glad he started, right? But equally, Williams on for Adam. If you try and bring on a taller player, fair enough. I can't really argue, even though I find it a baffling substitution in its own right.
And Charlie wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, he threw a little paddy. And then afterwards, you're bringing on... Who was it? We've just said Fletcher, that was it. Yeah. Fletcher for Woods. And you're thinking, okay, Fletcher's only got about 10 minutes to play, but what is that sub? What are you hoping to achieve doing it?
Yeah.
Is it just to give Fletcher a run out? Is it to give Woods a rest for Reading? Is it because you aren't happy with Woods? Is it because you want to praise Fletcher? Because it's got to be one of those things, because it cannot be to change the game, because the only change you can make doing it is negative.
Yeah. I mean, he isn't a game changer by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean, I think even in his United days, if he came on as a sub, it was more to consolidate a position rather than to change a game.
Yeah.
So I think I just didn't get that. Especially when you got Tybalt Verlinden, or you've got Bojan on the bench. I mean, I'm not saying either of them are game changers. I'm not saying that either of them would have got us a goal, but I'm thinking of Verlinden as much as anything. He got his chance on the bench. He's been doing well in the reserves. Surely he could have done better than, say, Ince, because he had quite an ineffectual game. Why didn't he take Ince off, give him a pat on the back, say, you've done well lately, you didn't have a great game today, but you've done well lately, go sit on the bench for 10 minutes and we'll rest you for Reading.
Yeah.
Well, instead we played him the full 90 and rested Woods, or took him off, depending on your point of view, for Fletcher, who, even though I have admiration for him as a person for everything he went through with the Crohn's disease, I think to myself, he shouldn't really actually be playing anymore for us.
I honestly don't know where Nathan Jones is coming from at the moment, if I should be honest. I can't understand these substitutes that he's making. I mean, it got explained to us last night about Williams. That he has played in central defence.
Well, it was essentially last night we went back to a back three, didn't we, when he came on? And you can't help but look and think, we're going defensive, even though we're playing defensively already. So it's, it's a bit... I'm sure I read a tweet somewhere saying if we go any further back, we'll be back in Stoke.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, well, what are we doing here,
I mean, and now Afobe has got this hamstring. I'm just hoping it wasn't as bad as what a hamstring can be. He did get up and walk, which was a good thing. So I just hope it wasn't too serious.
I mean, I do believe Juve will start if he isn't, and Vokes isn't, obviously. But,
please come back, folks.
But I can't help but think, over the past season or so, Crystal Palace have managed without strikers by playing their two wingers in advanced positions. So I can't help but look at them and go, is there anything there? You know, could we end up playing those two together? It's quite hard to know, really, but you never know. It might be an option.
Well, I hope that Vokes is better from his injury, and he can come back. At least I'll be a bit more confident then.
I mean, with someone actually said to me, what did Vokes do besides scoring in the Villa game? And I think the simple answer is he's been a focal point. So even if he hasn't had chances or he hasn't had shots or any of this sort, he's maybe been a focal point or a target for the players so that they can say, right, there's Vokes, aim the ball at him, he'll keep hold of it, and then we can move past him.
He's got that presence, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's tall.
Phobie and Juve just don't have that physical presence.
No. And, I do feel confident when he is there.
I mean, Etebo has been a miss as well, but it's strange to say it, but after last night, I'm also wondering if Klukas has played a part bigger than maybe we've noticed, in the sense that I'm wondering if he just had a little bit more, I'm going to say bite in him, in the sense that maybe, even though he hasn't maybe been good on the ball, I'm saying maybe because I'm just surmising, but with Klukas, I'm wondering if it's a case of he's been one of the first to try and win a ball back. He's been the bearer of the press. When we've been pressing teams, he's been the one trying to win the ball back when he's in the midfield role. And maybe Woods isn't that type of player. He doesn't like pressing opponents. So I'm completely surmising here. Someone might say Klukas is a lazy so-and-so or some other thing like that. But this is just maybe me trying to interpret what was missing from last night's performance compared to some of the recent ones.
And I've got to say as well that Ryan is forming a good partnership now with Bart. So I like them two together, and I think keep playing them as they are. They will become a good partnership.
I mean, last night I thought there were shaky in moments. I think Bart didn't have his best game for us. I think he went in for a few funny tackles, and then at the end there was that chance where Ryan nearly conceded the penalty.
Yeah.
So, there were iffy moments between the two of them, but I don't think it's enough to discredit what they've built so far. I think it's just a case of, just bang their heads together and say, come on, no more of that. Come on, let's keep it together. So, fingers crossed, maybe that's what will happen next game.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at Reading, if Bob Varson's their top scorer, I think the biggest problem we're going to have is balls into the box, because he's a big fella, and the way I'd look at it is, if we can deal with that, and as you rightfully point out at times, keep an eye on the balls low into the area, we'll be alright, because I think Shawcross and Bart will have the handle of Bob Varson. But if they decide to mix things up, maybe play Sam Baldock, or maybe put one of the other forwards, like, I don't know if Yako Maita is a winger or if he comes inside, but if they get any of those around, that's when we've got to be careful, because I'm not confident with wide balls going in, or wide players going inside, so it could be quite a tasty encounter, that.
But all in all, I'm just hoping now that they have a better match than last night, because as I say, it was a bit dire.
Well, put it like this, I'm glad I paid the £10 so that I could talk about it, but equally I'm thinking,
what a waste of £10.
Yeah, it's mixed feelings over it.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to go, but again, not problems, but personal things did come into it, and we couldn't go.
Yeah, it's like some people have work, some people have other stuff. So if it's a situation beyond your control, you can't really just say, "Oh right, I'm dropping everything to go watch Stoke."
Yeah.
So we had to deal with what we had to deal with, but I think it's Sheffield Wednesday we're hoping to be at, aren't we? Because it's your birthday on Friday, so we're not going to risk. You might be a little worse for wear on Saturday. So
yes.
Yeah, so we're just going to play it safe. That's why we aren't at the Reading game ourselves.
I might go if we can get a ticket. I might go.
Oh right, okay. That's breaking news, folks.
Hangover or no hangover.
Okay, let's not tell Staffordshire Police that. Okay, so we've got about 30 seconds or so. Predictions.
Right, I've gone for 2-1 to Stoke.
I dislike doing this, but I'm going with you, 2-1 Stoke. Just for the simple reason, that scoreline in the game, it frightened me a little bit. But in my head, I did have the idea that Reading will push us because they've been in good form recently, and I'm certainly not taking them for granted. But I'm hoping that home form will count for us. So 2-1.
Okay. Right, that's it then, folks. So see you next time. Enjoy Saturday's match and have a good week.
Yeah, we'll be back in the next video. So until then, see you folks. Bye for now.
Bye.